This video is to offer some tips to members who are new to using Google Meet for events. The first thing you need to do is find the link to a Google Meet event. In this case, I've logged into user testing. If you don't see this screen when you're logged in, just go to your name up here on the top right-hand corner and click on My Account, and that'll bring this screen up. The reason we've done that is we're going to go into events because user testing has registered for the Master Genealogist Special Interest Group in May, and this is the link to that meeting. It may be that you're new to the society and the activities coordinator has emailed you a Google link, a link to a Google Link meeting. That's fine. Just use that link. But the thing is here, we need a link to a video meeting. And so I'm just clicking on that, and you'll see that if you have a working webcam, it will fire up, and in this case we know that the camera's working. All right, now we also know that the microphone's working because you can see here that those little bars are going up and down, so I don't need to go and test the microphone because I know it's working. If you want to change the microphone, these are the available microphones here, and you can make a different choice. But of course, if you've got one working, you don't need to make any changes. With speakers, I'm happy with that speaker because you'll notice that I'm using an integrated headset with speakers and microphone. But in order to test them, I'm going to press this button, and you should be able to hear what I'm hearing in my earphones that get a little bit of music. So I know that everything's working, and I'm happy to join the meeting. Now, question is, what happens if things aren't working? Well, firstly, it's not 100% critical that you have a webcam for the meeting. So if you don't have one, you can still attend the meeting and see everything that's going on. The only thing that'll happen is that people in the meeting won't be able to see your face. Right? And some people like to shut their camera down anyway, mate. Maybe they're having a bad hair day or whatever. A microphone is a little bit more problematic, but if you're in a meeting without a microphone, you can still ask questions using the chat box. So speakers are critical, right? You can't hear what's going on in the meeting if you don't have speakers, all right? So let's assume that you've got all of those things, but one of them's not working, and you can't fix it by choosing a different option here in the drop-down boxes, right? Now, first thing that I would do is make sure that you come down here on the bottom right-hand corner, and it's similar for Windows 10. This is Windows 11 that I've logged into. I assume something similar happens for Mac. I don't use a Mac, so I can't offer too much advice on a Mac, but make sure that your speakers are not muted, all right? So I often mute my speakers because I get a lot of strange noises when I'm going to different websites, and I don't like it, so I mute the speakers. But if you're going to use Google Meet, you need to make sure they're not muted. So the place that you need to go to check out your settings for your sound and your microphone is settings. Now with Windows 10, that's different. It's not down here on the taskbar. It's over here on the left-hand side, but it's still called settings, right? So let's go into settings. Now, camera and sound have shown up here under recommended settings, but maybe they don't for you, right? So go over here to find a setting and type in sound, and sound settings will come up, right? So let's open that up. And here we are. Here are the options for speakers, right? Speakers here, and I'm happy with these speakers, but if your speaker isn't working, then maybe you would choose a different speaker than the one that the system has selected, or you make sure that there is a speaker selected. I'll go into this speaker and I can test my speaker by clicking on this test button, and I'm hearing it, so I'm happy. All right. Maybe the problem that you have is your volume's turned right down, so you might need to just turn your volume up on your speaker once you've selected the one that you're happy with. Yeah, look, beyond that, those are the normal things that would go wrong. All right. So if we now have a look at the microphone, again, I've selected this microphone. I'm happy with it. You can see that it's working because this little sound bar here is going up and down. But if you had a different microphone available and the one that you had selected wasn't working, maybe you should select a different microphone. Again, you can make sure that your volume on your microphone is not right down low, right, which could be causing your problem. Make sure, of course, that this doesn't say the don't allow is not clicked on. You certainly want it allowed to access the Google Meet app. In this case, I don't need to start the test because you can see it's working. So we can go back to the system, and similar thing applies to camera, right? Manage cameras. I'm interested in the USB video device. I am using a laptop, but I've got it over to the side, and so I don't want to use the integrated webcam in my laptop. I want to use my USB video device, and you can see that it's working, right? Because you can see me with my headset on. So all good. But those are the three places that you would go to look at reviewing the settings, particularly the sound level, or which device has been selected if things weren't working. Right now, you may find that you need a set of headphones, and if you do all this test long enough before the meeting, like days before the meeting, or at least the day before, you'll have time to pop out and get yourself a set of headphones if that's what you need. Or if you discover that you've got a PC and you actually want to use a webcam and you don't have one, then maybe you're going to have to go out and buy one. Now, as a normal member, you won't have an FHWA Google account, so you won't be able to open the meeting. In this case, the account that I've logged in with is a Google account, but it's not an FHWA one. But if I switch account, which you won't be able to do, but I'm going to do it for demonstration purposes, to choose one that is an FHWA account, so I can open the meeting. All right. Now, I'm going to be the only person in this meeting, so it's going to be a little bit funny. Let's close that down. But just to give you a few ideas of what to do in the meeting, all right? So some of the key buttons to be of interest is that this is your microphone button. If you're in a meeting and other people are talking, it's good etiquette to try and keep your microphone on mute as much as you can. Just remember that if you want to talk, you've got to take it off mute. And that cuts down on the amount of feedback that's going on. There might be a little bit of background noise at your place, the dog's barking or whatever. And so it's handy to keep your microphone on mute. If you want to raise your hand during the meeting, this little thing here will raise your hand, and then if you click on it, it'll go back. It'll stop being raised. If you want to put something in the chat box, this is this little box over here. You can just type a message in here, and everybody in the meeting will see it, and you won't interrupt the speaker if you want to type something while the speaker is speaking. If you're not seeing enough of the meeting in the default layout that pops up, you might want to experiment with different layouts, and that's on the three dots here. You click on Change Layout. And I like using the sidebar layout with meetings. You won't see it here because there's only one person in the meeting, but there's a big central screen for the presentation, and then you'll see a few people down the side, including the speaker. And then if anybody else speaks, they'll normally pop up down the side and you can see who they are. If you only want to see the presentation, you can use a spotlight option, which will just be pretty much a full screen like you're seeing now with me, because you won't see any other participants in the meeting. And you do have an option if you're not seeing enough to actually go to full screen mode, right? So full screen looks like that. So you see a little bit more. Just use your escape to get out of full screen because you won't see anybody, any of your other controls when you're in full screen mode. And then when the meeting's over, all you do is click on this button and the meeting is finished. There you go, you've got the meeting. So Google Meet's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The critical thing is to make sure that you have functional equipment and test it well beforehand and get yourself to the meeting probably at least 5 minutes before the meeting starts so that you're not going to hold the presenter up when he's ready to open the meeting and admit people and get cracking and enjoy. Thank you.